What's up, everyone, and welcome into the latest episode where it is my honor and privilege to introduce a special guest joining this episode, and that is Army Slotback, Noah Short. How are you doing, Noah?
I'm excellent. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, no, thank you for joining. Really appreciate it. I know you have a little bit of a snow day, so hopefully you got a little bit of time to kind of enjoy things, do a little bit more of like fun activities than maybe having your day-to-day kind of life at this point.
That's right.
Awesome. So I know you just got back from the American Bowl. How was that experience? Not only like practicing, but eventually end up playing in the game as well. I know the American Bowl has to be something that not only you're extremely proud of going to, but it's a huge bowl for the military as well. So there had to be a little bit of pride being able to represent West Point there as well.
Yeah, overall, it was a great experience. I learned so much. And, the first day we got there and they gave us a playbook. It's about 65 pages.
Okay.
So, I mean, there was quite a few plays that, you kind of had to recall and get down.
Yeah.
But my coach for the Guardians was Mike Jones. He was the receivers coach, and man, he did a great job.
Okay.
He obviously has a lot of experience, NFL, college, all
Yeah.
levels of football, and just the way he coached all week was great. And then my peers around me on the team were excellent. Some notable ones. I mean, all of them were notable, but
Yeah.
I talked a lot to Anthony Smith. He's a receiver
Okay.
at ECU,
Yeah.
and we had played against each other early in the year, so
Oh,
we,
that's
we
awesome.
talked about that a little bit. And then Chris Hilton Jr. from LSU,
Oh yeah.
he was really good. Um, just all the guys and Max and Gabe and that just we kind of built this unit cohesion
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, all those guys going to those bowl games, we have one common goal, right? And that's to try and play in the NFL.
Exactly.
So that part of the experience was awesome. And then just getting to talk to a couple teams face to face, that was awesome as well. I had never really gotten that experience before, and the fact that Scott Phillips, the director of the game, he did a great job just up and down from meals to organizing meetings for the players, and like you mentioned, honoring the military families, which was really awesome. On Wednesday, it was our walkthrough day before the game.
Okay.
We had a community day, and so there's a couple service members there and their families, so I got to interact with them and
Oh, that's
talk
awesome.
Army a little bit, which was cool. We had a little common ground to talk.
Yeah.
And then they also had another event for a program that they had made called Soldiers to Sidelines.
Okay.
And effectively what their purpose is they're helping, retired veterans
Yeah.
transition to coaching, right? And
Oh, I
using
love
some of
that.
those same Army principles in Navy and Air Force and Coast Guard and kind of helping them in that process. So
Yeah.
just the amount of service members I got to talk to and elite football players and coaches, it was really, I couldn't ask for a better experience.
I love to hear that. Is that something that you can see yourself kind of doing in the future? Like, obviously, once you get out of the Army, kind of go into coaching a little bit. Also, if you do eventually have a football career in the NFL.
Yeah, that's funny you mentioned that. My dad has been my coach all the way up through high school,
Okay.
and he's always kind of like put that in the back of my head. It's
Yeah.
like, man, what do you think about coaching? And just the fundamental idea of coaching. I think it's very similar to what I learned at West Point, and it's really just leadership,
Yeah.
right? And it's
Oh, yeah.
leading others and all the facets that um, encompasses, I guess, which is, just accountability, and really helping people get to their goals, right, within the
Exactly.
organizational structure.
Yeah.
So I definitely, maybe one day, if that's in my cards, for sure, I wouldn't
Okay.
mind coaching at all.
Hey, hopefully that's after a playing career in the NFL, which I know is your ultimate goal, but you specifically mentioned having 65 pages of a new playbook. Coming from West Point, kind of coming from the offense you guys run, is that easier to learn a little bit of a new playbook, or because you kind of the offense you guys run, it's a little bit different, maybe a little bit more difficult to learn kind of those 65 different plays?
I wouldn't necessarily say too difficult. I'd just say,
Okay.
it's definitely a big change.
Yeah,
It's funny whenever I was talking to guys about it, it's a little different than the triple option, right?
a little bit.
And so just being lined up out wide every play, I was a little different. But
Yeah.
I had done that here at Army, and the coaches had prepared me. Coach Aaron Smith, he was my receivers coach my sophomore year,
Yeah.
and then Coach Dane Romero, he had coached me my junior through senior year from the true
Okay.
slotback. So they had really prepared me well in the pass game, and so I felt comfortable
Yeah.
and confident, at that true receiver position. But not without the help of my peers, like I mentioned before,
Yeah.
and then Coach Jones, just kind of just giving me quick, tips and hints to win reps and be successful. So definitely different for sure, but I embrace the challenge.
Exactly. And in your career at Army, you had over 1,000 yards receiving, over 1,000 yards rushing. We'll talk a little bit about that first one to ever do that at West Point, which I think is absolutely incredible. It shows you kind of your ability and really obviously like how much you kind of got involved in the offense. I do want to talk a little bit more about the offense, but I do want to kind of talk about the American Bowl one little last time because for you, that was an opportunity for you to wear your Army helmet one last time to represent the school, wear the black helmet. What does that mean to you to get the opportunity to represent Army, represent West Point one last time wearing that helmet?
It means a lot to me. This program, it's really given me the platform and all the tools that I've needed to succeed, and just the belief that the coaching staff has had in me since freshman, and that's gone from Coach Monk and all the way down, right? And coming in, because my college career was a little different than others. I had come in as a nickelback,
Okay.
and so I transitioned to slotback or receiver going into my sophomore year.
Yeah.
And so just handling a lot of the change and just having coaches and grad assistants along the way that they always believed in me, right? There was no one
Yeah.
ever saying, "Oh, man, you can't do this," or you're not apt to take this new role on.
Exactly.
It was just a tremendous honor, and just coming to the academy and being in my last semester here, commissioning soon, it's an extreme honor. West Point, it's definitely different from the outside looking in, and
Yeah.
they do say it's a good place to be from, but not a good place to be at. But you take that lightly because it's challenging, right? It's
Yeah.
rigorous. You have your military duties, and you have to perform on and off the field, and there's no shortcuts. But those skills that I've acquired while being here and facing hardships, I feel have helped me significantly on the field, and so I'm forever grateful for that.
Yeah, it's going to help you on the field, but it's also going to help you off the field in the Army after you're out of the Army, depending on
Yep.
how long you stay. Like, those are things that you're going to have, like, for the rest of your life, like the leadership, kind of that discipline. And obviously, when you made the transition from nickelback on the defensive side of the ball to the offensive side of the ball, you have to have a ton of discipline because it's a completely different approach going against a quote unquote the triple option to now being a big part of the triple option. How long did it take you to kind of settle in, kind of learn the offense and truly get comfortable with it? Because for a lot of people watching, right, like I feel like a lot of people would watch, see like how difficult it can be, but some people might seem as a little bit like boring, old school. But I'm someone that loves the triple option. I love
Yeah.
watching. I love watching you guys play. I love watching the Army Navy game because to me it's like old school football. It's physical. It's difficult. It's multiple different reads. That had to be a difficult change and a change that truly did have to come with a ton of discipline to do so.
Yeah. I think you said it best. It's definitely old school, kind of rough football, right?
Yeah,
And the thing is, we get 3.5 yards, that's a success. We're always looking to get fourth and short. We love to play all four downs. And I think it's awesome. I think the offense, it's very you have to be very like cohesive as a team, right? You have to be
exactly.
on the same page as the quarterback.
Yeah,
That quarterback sometimes pitches the ball to the slot back and he doesn't even see him, but he just trusts that he's there because you
yeah,
rep it all week in practice.
exactly.
So, again, going back to my coaches, Coach Romero, because my sophomore year, we kind of went to more gun style. And then my junior year, we went back to under center primarily, just learning to run the ball in the alley and on the edge. and just learning to get all you can and try and fall forward within this offense is big. So I would like to say it was easier just because of how good my coaches and my teammates were.
Yeah, and it might be more of me coming from like I ran the wing T in high school, which was we
Yeah,
basically make a joke. It's like 333, 333, 333
yeah,
over and over and over up the middle,
exactly.
3 yards at a time. And it might not be like the prettiest offense. You might be able to have like a big run every once in a while, but like to
Right.
me, like watching just the offensive line just continue to like lean on the other team, and you just see like these wide open holes in like the fourth quarter. Like there's nothing better in my opinion than watching like a 12-minute touchdown run that truly
Yeah,
takes
yeah,
the pressure, takes really the heart of the other team out. Like it's like, hey, all we need is a stop, and then next thing you know, you guys go on a 12-minute drive,
yeah,
and it's like 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and they're like, "There's nothing you can do about it."
yeah,
Like that.
yeah.
That's
No,
the game. That's what
yeah,
I
that's a
love
great
about it.
point. Yeah, I mean, I can't recall the exact number, but I think one of our longest drives was last year against North Texas. I think we had gone 97 yards. We started at the 3, and it was like maybe a 19 or a 21 play drive. And like you
Yeah.
said, it was just like, not only is it wear and tear on the defense, but, sometimes when we're playing explosive offenses, it keeps them off the field too. So,
Yeah.
it's definitely, you got to be ready to play whenever you're playing the triple.
Exactly. Sometimes the best type of defense is keeping the other team off the
Right.
field,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But um, I know obviously you mentioned a little bit of a role change going from your sophomore year, kind of going a little bit more of like in the gun, back a little bit more to kind of the traditional army kind of approach to things under center. Like, how dramatic of a change was that? And just like how much kind of adaptability did you have to have not only when that change happened, but kind of like the position that you play at slack back, because you're going to be able to get the ball several different times throughout the game, but you're also going to be catching the ball out of the backfield as well. There has to be a ton of adaptability when it comes to that part of truly the offense at Army.
Yeah, I'd say the main focus for me was just running on the perimeter. Just rushing overall because my sophomore year I had a couple catches and I think I only had 2 rushes, and then my junior year I think I had maybe 60 plus rushes. So really just running the ball more.
Yeah,
And the skills that entails, ball security, making the first guy miss and stuff like that.
yeah.
So I'd say that was the biggest change for me. And the thing was, I had run a lot of routes my sophomore year, so the pass game wasn't too much of a change,
Okay.
but definitely just like being in that true slot and staying in pitch relationship to the quarterback and stuff like that was my main focus.
Yeah, and you also got to play with a couple of really great quarterbacks, right? Like we talked
Yeah,
about Bryson Daly, aka like Captain America
yeah, the
for
goat.
and then you also had Cal Helms this year as well. Great season for him as well. How fun was it playing with two great quarterbacks, especially quarterbacks that just were key contributors to what you guys do because they were kind of the decision makers.
Yeah, yeah. I mean both of them and Dwayne Coleman as well.
Yeah,
They're all just exceptional people off the field. They're the people you want to sit with at lunch, right? And even after practice, just to talk shop or
yeah,
just talk life, right? And I think that's very important.
yeah,
But just Bryson, I don't really need to say much, but he was just an exceptional player for us, and he was a bruiser,
yeah.
and I think he had finished sixth in Heisman voting, which is like that's insane.
Which
At a
is
12,
also, in my opinion, a little just. I think you should have been in New York, but
yeah,
just my
yeah. That's not a hot take. So he's just an awesome guy, and
yeah,
like I said, his leadership. He was the same guy in the weight room. He would throw weight around. I'm like, dang, dude, that's our quarterback. We're gonna be good this week.
yeah,
And with Kale, a little bit of the same. Not as big,
yeah.
but his first year in the position, I thought he did excellent.
Good.
Our relationship is great, and just more of the same, similar to Bryson. Just off the field, he's a great person as well. And Dwayne too. I had been with him. This is gonna be my 5th year being with him because we had gone to the prep school together.
Okay.
And He's also an exceptional person and player. So it's been awesome taking pitches from all three of them.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And you talk about kind of the exceptional people and just like being able to connect with them. And I think that's one thing that is really special about West Point, about Army, about the academies as well, is just how much college football has changed recently when it comes to the transfer portal, when it comes to NIL. At Army, not much has changed. Talk a little bit about that and just kind of the brotherhood that you guys have at Army and just like going to battle every single week with the same guys for 4 or 5 years because those are your brothers. Those are people that you've gotten to know the last 5 years, and those are people, including yourself, that will be serving in the Army, that will be leaders in the Army.
Right. That's a great question. I think it just starts with, your first point on the portal is, you look at some of these other ball clubs and they're getting, 50 to 60 plus new guys
Yeah,
at any point, right? The transfer portal opens.
exactly.
And so the fact that, like you said, you're going through this entire process with the same people, right? That's extremely important. I really do believe that real unit cohesion and team cohesion
Yeah,
is tangible. One experience I could think of is this past summer before fall camp, I had done cadet training, right? And so we're in the field, sleeping in the field. It's raining and you're cold.
yeah.
And I was with Colin Madison. He was our safety.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a great player. I think he got a PPF or PFF Defensive Player of the Week against Kansas State. So
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, no, he's awesome. But long story short, me and him were staying up till 3 at night. Make sure we're pulling security for our little patrol base, and he's holding the M249. It's like a light machine gun while I'm shooting it, and it's just those experiences that you have here.
Yeah,
Even at the other academies, you're just not finding that anywhere else, right? And so, it's
exactly.
almost like, I see he's tired in a practice or in a game, and like you look at him and you see that same dude who's up with you till 4 a.m. You guys are both extremely exhausted. And it's
Yeah,
like, you know what? I can depend on him and he can depend on me, right? And,
exactly.
that translates everywhere, and not even in just football, in life. And so, it's that cohesion is definitely special here. And like you said on your last point, just the fact that that these players you're playing with are willing to ultimately give their life, right, to be
Exactly.
an officer in the United States Army. That's an extreme sacrifice and commitment, and
Yeah,
to see it through others at such a young age, in college kids, right? It's just remarkable.
yeah.
I'm really blown away by my teammates and who they are as people.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's shaped who you are as a person as well. Like I'm sure you are who you are because you went to Army. Like it's taught you, like you mentioned, leadership, talked about discipline. Not saying that's not exactly something you can't get at other schools, but like kind of the military academy life, like you specifically mentioned, is different. Like there's so much more that comes with it. Like you're not just football players. Like obviously you are a football player, but there's so much like there's the academic part of it, there's the military part of it, there's obviously like certain like regulations, stuff like that. And then you obviously also mentioned of like you're willing to sacrifice your life after college. Like there's just so much that goes into it that for someone looking on, like I'm really appreciative of like anyone that goes to uh, military academy, anyone that goes to Army, Navy, Air Force, anyone that serves as well. So one thing before we wrap up at some point, I do want to say thank you for your service. Thank you for your future service. I know you're going to be an incredible leader in the Army. I know you obviously had an incredible career at Army playing football, and obviously the one game a year that you guys look forward to, kind of the one game that's circled on the calendar every single year is the one game that everyone that's playing in it is willing to sacrifice their life, and that's Army Navy. Talk about what that game means to you and just how different it is being a player on that field and just kind of the rivalry, even though you two are military academies.
Yeah, it's a combined effort between the Army and the Navy, right?
Yeah,
To defend and protect the Constitution in our country. except on one day of the year, and that's Army
Yeah,
Navy, right? And
I agree.
so it's a tremendous rivalry, and in my opinion, it's the best one in college football.
Agree.
But just the emotions you experience and the build up to it, it's really tremendous. And my first one ever was my freshman year, and I had been bouncing on and off the travel squad as a special teams guy.
Yeah.
So I got to dress for the game, and I was second string on punt block, and I think third string on kickoff.
Okay.
So everyone from home and friends had been texting me, like, "Man, I'm so excited for the Army Navy game.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna play in it." And I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna play, but I'm gonna be there.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so in my head, I was just like, man, I just hope I could get in on kickoff or just get some TV time, right? And
Yeah.
the whole week of practice, Coach Sean Saturnio, he's our special teams coordinator, he put in a schematic against third punt.
Okay.
And so we had, I think, two or three punt block formations go out there. And then the fourth, the guy ahead of me, Jimmy Charlo, I believe he's actually with the Dolphins right now.
Okay.
So he started off either with the Jets. Either way, he's doing really good. He's a great
Yeah.
player.
Yeah.
But he had come out for a snap. So I do it. I'm in his position, and I almost get the block. And I'm
Yeah.
like, dang, dude, like I'm kind of close. And so the second one, I ended up blocking it. And just as a freshman, it was just, I didn't even think it was real. And after the game, just all the seniors who were coming up to me, they were just like, man, thank you so much. And I really
Yeah.
kind of got to see what it meant to those guys going out, with a win against Navy. And that was
Yeah.
really special. But just overall, throughout the years, finished 2-2. So first two we got them, second two they got us. But it's always a great game, and you always got to bring your A game, because
Oh
like
yeah.
you said, both teams got it circled, and it matters to a lot of people. So it's great.
Exactly. No, absolutely. Did you know that like right off the line in the second punt, did you know like you had a real good chance of blocking it, or were you like, I'm just gonna give full on effort and if I get there, what a
Yeah,
story.
I saw it. I saw it
Okay.
open. So, like I said, I think Andre Tobias, he was kind of not necessarily our bait guy, but he was taking on the guy that was really supposed to block me. And
Yeah.
so he had got him, and the guys on the edge distracted the shield. And so really there was nobody there. And so I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I just gotta hit it. And so it ended up working out. But not without, I mean, Sean's turning out, like I said, but all week in practice, because we have a bye week before the Navy game,
Yeah.
and we had been repping that, and I almost got as many reps as Jimmy, the starter at that position. And
Okay.
so big credit to Coach Saturnio, because, man, like, he knew to, you got to prepare the ones and twos.
Oh yeah,
And I'm
absolutely.
thankful that he did that, because, it ended up working out.
Yeah, and what a moment. Your freshman year, first action, you do that in Army Navy. That's going to be a moment that people remember, right? And obviously it led to the best feeling in the world, and that is singing second.
Yeah, yep, 100%. Yeah, and I think that was the first overtime game ever in Philadelphia. So that was a crazy game. That was a great game.
I was just going to say, like, the last few years have just been, like, incredible games. In my opinion, it's always an incredible game. Like, the atmosphere, like, everything that comes with it. It's always a really closely contested game. Truly, like, kind of throw away the records going into a
Yeah,
game. And
yeah,
that's
yeah.
one thing that I love about it.
Honestly, yeah. And I'll tell you this before we wrap up, but last year I think we had the most wins in school history. I think we finished 12-2. I think AP 23rd or first
Yeah,
overall.
yeah, top
And
25, yeah.
and the feeling of winning the Navy game and being 6-6 was a little better than a conference championship, and I think that just tells you how much it
Oh, yeah.
really does mean to the program and the culture here. But at the same time, the conference championship was
Yeah.
awesome. So yeah,
Yeah, I was
not
just
too
going to
bad.
say, probably didn't take too long to kind of buy into the whole, like, Army Navy biggest game of the year. It's probably
Yeah,
something
yeah,
that was talked about all the time. And once you finally get that first action, that's truly when it probably hits you that, okay, this is the
yeah,
game.
yeah. I mean, you're seeing jets fly over and the Apaches, and you
Yeah,
see the
absolutely.
president in the booth, and you're like, wow, this is a big deal.
You're like all the important people in the United States
Yeah,
is here to watch
all
us
in,
play.
all in one stadium.
Exactly. I know you have to get going here shortly, so I got a couple last questions. Going to put you on the hot seat real quick, though. Obviously, you get new jerseys every time that you played the Army Navy game. If you had to pick one, what is your favorite Army jersey that you guys wore for Army Navy?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I do have a bias based on the outcome of the game,
Okay.
but in my opinion, I think the cleanest ones were last year.
Okay.
They were the black with the snow kind of sprinkles,
Yeah.
and they were just extremely clean. But this year's I think is a close second with the
Yeah.
silver and they they both were really cool.
Yeah, the two jerseys were incredible. Both jerseys, in my opinion, were
Yeah, yeah.
incredible and just an incredible game overall. But obviously, I mentioned one specific thing earlier, and I kind of want to get into that a little bit. First football player to ever reach the career yardage of 1,000 yards rushing, 1,000 yards receiving. What does something like that mean to you, and just how important has like your teammates, your coaches, and just kind of like building you all up to be the first ever athlete at Army to do that? Like that's incredible in my opinion.
I appreciate that. Yeah, no, it was awesome. And it started with Aaron Smith, our receivers coach, and like I said, he had coached my sophomore year when I just transitioned. And it was during a game, I want to say UAB, maybe week 5 or 6. And the announcers had mentioned the fact that I was on pace to do that, and I hadn't really looked into it too much before that, and
Yeah,
so once he'd mentioned that, it's kind of in the back of my head, like, wow, that'd be really awesome, right?
yeah,
And so the season's going along, and finally we get to the bowl game, the Fenway Bowl, and I need 100 more yards receiving, and so I'm like, dang, you're warming up, and it's like feels like 14 degrees,
oh
and
yeah,
in the back of my head, I'm like, oh man, I don't know if we're gonna pass a lot today.
yeah,
But we had opened it up. Kale threw a great ball for I think it was a 40-yard touchdown to even it up at 7, and I think that was the first quarter.
yeah,
And so then I was like, okay, I only need 60 more. Like I can do this, right? And another note is Cody Worley, our offense coordinator, and Romero and Smith. They all did a great job. They were kind of keeping tab on it.
okay. I didn't
And
know if they were keeping an eye on it, and they're like,
yeah,
hey,
yeah, yeah.
we have to
It
get Noah
wasn't.
there.
Yeah, obviously the primary goal of the game is to win, but
Oh yeah,
if we could do that and check that box, that'd be awesome. So we also had done that week of where there's a couple clips in the game where I go across in motion and then I come back and Kale tosses it to me, where usually he would hand the ball off to me. But the thing is, even a toss out of the backfield, like just
yeah,
like this, is a pass. And so
exactly.
it was almost like those rushing yards counted as receiving. And so
Yeah,
that helped out a lot. And so I think by halftime I was at 49,
okay,
and I was like, okay, like, I could do this. And then Kale threw a great pass towards the sideline on a 10-yard out route. And then I think I need like 30 more. And I cramped up really bad in the third quarter. And I was like, there's no way. So I had to go in, and I got some water and stuff. And then I came back out, and then finally I think I got it with an 18-yard hitch. And then just getting in the fourth, I was like, wow, okay, awesome. Like a big relief off my shoulders, because how
yeah,
unfortunate would it be if I got 999, right? But, the whole coaching staff, Kale did a great job. And, obviously the offensive line on those little toss routes helped. But it was awesome. It
yeah,
was even better the fact that we won the game, right? So
yeah.
it was just a great experience. And I think it was a great way to end my career for
Yeah,
sure.
I was just gonna say not only won the game, but if we're gonna be honest, like dominate the game the whole way,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which was a
Yeah.
ton of fun.
Yeah, no, it was UConn, they had a great team, and it
Yeah,
was noted that their quarterback hadn't trust up, and then the receiver I think APL American, both great players,
yeah,
hadn't dressed up. So, there's always room for that. And that's more of an occurrence now with the whole portal, right?
yeah,
And guys declaring early and stuff. So, the guys that did play in UConn, they were excellent. They came to play and they were hitting hard. So
yeah,
I'm just happy that things worked in our favor for sure.
yeah. And obviously, you got to go in the record books, which I know for you specifically, it's probably not all about the records. It's all about like the brotherhood. It's all about much more than that. And now that like your football career has ended at Army, I do want to wrap up with this one question. Have you had kind of time to reflect on your career and just the time you've had at West Point and just what does like Army mean to you and just how are you feeling with a couple months left at West Point because you're almost done. You've
Yeah,
almost
yeah,
made it.
yeah. I'm starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not a train, which is good.
Yeah.
But the whole experience has been just phenomenal, and I've spent a long time reflecting on my own personal development through the academy, and whether that's facing academic hardships, where man, this course is tough, and I'm gonna have to work extra hours to make sure I pass, or military duties, going to we have a course, survival swim, where every other day you're in an Olympic sized pool with all your gear on, getting wet and swimming with a rifle. So there's just so many checkpoints along the way that challenge your grit and really your determination to really commission out of West Point. And I think
Exactly.
it's tremendous the way that the academy does that. They give you a lot to handle, but it's rarely like too much to where they know you can't succeed. A lot of the instructors I've had, they want us cadets to succeed, but
Yeah.
not without some adversity, right, and some fight, which is important. But as far as the football career, I'd really been transitioning to my pro day. In the American Bowl was obviously a great checkpoint along the way, but my pro day is March 12th, so I'm really looking forward to performing my best that day,
Yeah.
and hopefully getting a further opportunity. But something I'm always telling my peers and even coaches is, if the NFL doesn't work out, I'm more than excited to commission as a second lieutenant in the
Yeah.
United States Army. It's just a tremendous opportunity, and I feel like West Point has enabled me to lead America's sons and daughters. So
Absolutely.
either way, it's a win-win.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. Personally, I would love to see you in the Honolulu Blue. I would love to see you in Detroit. I'm a Lions fan. Would love to see you in Detroit. But no, I truly would love to see you play in the NFL. I think you're a great athlete. I think you're obviously like had a great career. I also think you're a great person
Thank
as
you.
well. And I truly think that no matter what you do, if it's the NFL, if it means an officer as well, I think you're going to be extremely successful. I think there's going to be a lot of people impacted by you and their lives. And I truly do think you're going to do great things. And again, I really appreciate you joining. Really hope this was worth your time. Really hope you had
Yeah, no, you've
fun.
been great, man. It is awesome. I should have got on this earlier, but you don't got a lot of free time at the academy, so I appreciate
Yeah.
you setting this up.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you joining. I know, like you said, you don't have a ton of free time at the academy, so I appreciate you giving me a little bit of that. But truly, I truly mean it. Like, best of luck in either the NFL as an officer. I'm really, really happy to have you on. I really think you're going to do great things.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, thank you again for your service. Good luck in the pro day. Good luck. Hopefully with an NFL opportunity. Again, would love to see you in the Honolulu Blue, but in any
That's right.
jersey in the
That's
NFL,
my
I would
mindset,
love to
man.
see.
Any team, I'm head over heels.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. No, I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Hope things end up going well for the next couple of months at West Point. You're almost done. You're almost out
That's
of there.
right. Almost there. Almost there.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, man. That is a wrap to this latest episode. Again, thank you again to Noah for joining and tune in to the next episode.